Yeah, keep the balance. That's it, move side to side, that's good. Little feint, little feint. Finish with the up.
But what I want to do is do you some serious damage. Are you hearing me, you pig? So get plenty of steroids and juice down you, mate, because I will fight you tomorrow, today, any...
The lights dim, and the digital grain of leaked footage flickers across the screen, revealing Carl Froch in a state of raw, unbridled intensity. Watching from the shadows, John Fury doesn't just see a workout. He sees a red flag that demands a reckoning.
Come there, mate. Be prepared for some serious damage, because that's what I'm going to do to you. It's past it now, and I'm sick of you getting on you weasel making videos like a 14-year-old boy. You're this image of a Shapton mallet pig. What's it too much swill?
His voice drops to a gritty, cinematic growl, accusing Froch of an energy that defies the natural limits of the ring. He stares into the lens, questioning how such ferocity is even humanly possible without a hidden, darker edge.
Fight you, but you've got to do a job on them. You've got to show me, like I said, that you can even stay on your feet for 3 minutes or 2-minute rounds, whatever it is. Because I don't think...
Suspicion hangs heavy in the air like pre-fight tension, as Fury claims this isn't just training, it's a calculated mystery. He weaves a narrative of doubt, suggesting the preparation we see is merely a front for something far more sinister. The payoff is a cold, hard challenge.
Box you for free. Not box you, fight you for free. I've got fame, I've got money, I've got enough. But what I want to do is do you some serious damage. Are you hearing me, you pig? So get plenty of steroids and juice down you, mate, because I will fight you.
Challenge to the integrity of the camp, leaving the world wondering what Froch is truly hiding behind those closed gym doors. The spotlight shifts as Carl Froch fires back, a cold smirk playing on his lips after John Fury's explosive accusations. Froch doesn't just talk. He challenges the very ground Fury stands on.
Trying to enlighten people in the world today that it is illegal to use your steroids, and that's what he's doing to gain an edge. Well, I feel sorry for him.
Demanding proof the man can even survive a few rounds before pointing fingers. With a flick of the wrist, the narrative pivots, dismissing the noise to focus on the raw reality of a real fight. But Fury isn't backing down, his fury boiling over into a dark, aggressive threat that...
And then there's Froch, who's been paid to fight. He's used to getting money for knocking guys out. I'm sure if they put enough knocks in front of Carl Froch, in front of Carl Froch, then he might rise to it. But he ain't going to rise to it if there's no money on the table, if there's no end goal. If you want to punch up, you can go out in the street and have that any day.
That's through the screen. He labels Froch a cheater, a shadow in the gym fueled by steroids, his voice thick with a calculated, intimidating rage. It's a high-stakes play for reputation, framing every drop of Froch's sweat as a violation of the ring's sacred code. Then comes the veteran... voice of Duke Mackenzie, peeling back the curtain on the true engine driving this machine. Cold, hard cash. He reveals a fighter who only rises when the prize is high enough to match the risk. Without the incentive, the fire dies, proving that for Froch, this isn't just a grudge. It's a professional gamble where...
He's a genuine, world champion level fighter, and he's actually bigger than you'd think, right, when you meet him. He's a lot younger than John, and his peak was outrageously good, right? And he's kept himself in shape. And even now, I remember having a chat with Eddie Hearn, about what fighter you've met is the toughest fighter. And he said to me, if I'm ever in a bit of bother, the man I want standing next to me at a pub or whatever.
Every move has a price tag attached. The cinematic tension breaks as Carl Froch stares directly into the lens, dismissively casting a shadow over the bright lights of Wembley Stadium. He doesn't just talk. He paints a picture of a legend versus a ghost, mocking John Fury's...
You, my friend, and nobody else either on this planet. If it makes business sense, but them other people don't generate any money. But you do. Next world champion. People still love you.
Aging frame and lack of true battle-ready fitness. With the weight of a Hall of Fame legacy behind every word, Froch reminds the world of the roaring crowds he once commanded, projecting a cold, untouchable confidence that leaves Fury's challenge dying in the wind. Then,
he went and tried to approach Carl Froch, screaming all these things at him. You know, the fighting man, you know, John Fury, 100-0 on the hard road, in spite of the fact he's been ironed out in the boxing ring plenty of times, including by non-punchers like Henry Akin one day, and it's all there for the people to see. He was going in.
The narrative shifts to the raw grit of the pain game, where Froch is hailed as a top-tier world champion carved from granite. This is a story of peak performance and a terrifying toughness that few men possess. He is described as the ultimate ally in a foxhole, a fighter defined by a resilience that borders on the supernatural. Every drop of sweat is a testament to an elite level of preparation that silences the doubters and reinforces a reputation built on iron will. The cinematic tension reaches a boiling point as John Fury...
I watched Carl Froch getting knocked down by George Groves. He was gone. Carl Froch has an incredible will to win. The fights that he's had with the great champions, and he's come out of the sport intact. For John Fury to be calling out Carl Froch on his opinion, because Carl Froch is entitled to give his opinion in boxing. If you can't have freedom of speech, what was the point of these men and women dying in the world wars, giving their lives in vain?
What do you think would actually happen if John Fury and Carl Froch, as he is,
Carl Froch could stand there and say to John, I'll give you 2 free shots, John. Hit me with your right hand.
Fury stares down the lens, his voice a gravelly vow that he will never back down from the fire. In this high-stakes game of shadows, he declares that no one else matters. If the business makes sense, the war is on, framing Carl Froch as the ultimate prize and a massive draw. Fury presents himself as a man possessed, a warrior laser-focused on a singular mission to prove his worth in the ultimate challenge. Enter Liam Goff, who paints a gritty picture of Fury aggressively hunting Froch, relentless ghost of the ring who refuses to let past losses define his future. Goff portrays him as a fearless force of nature.
John Fury was doing that and goading Carl Froch. And I know John Fury doesn't like Carl Froch. Carl Froch mentions him, although I haven't really watched much of Carl Froch's videos lately. But Carl Froch, I know, has mentioned John Fury in the past. He's had a go with John Fury. They actually talked about having an actual, was it an exhibition or a boxing type match? And John Fury, the, any man, any time, was saying words to the effect of, oh, I'll fight you, Carl Froch, but the money has to be right. And Carl Froch basically said, all right, well, if we arrange payment.
A man determined to carve his name into the narrative with a statement written in blood and sweat. But then, the cold, hard truth of Joe Egan cuts through the noise like a blade, dismissing Fury as nothing more than a loud-mouthed bully. Egan elevates Froch to the status of a Hall of Fame titan, a lethal architect of the ring who has dismantled the world's elite with calculated, bone-crushing power. The story shifts to a masterclass in ring intelligence, where Froch's legendary career and ice-cold composure under pressure frame him as a predator far beyond Fury's reach.
Well equipped, he's well versed, and he's been a world champion, so he knows what exactly.
In this world, skill isn't just a trait, it's a death sentence for those who lack the pedigree of a true champion. The cinematic tension tightens as Liam Goff pulls back the curtain on a grudge fueled by pure, unadulterated friction, where John Fury's dislike for Carl Froch isn't just talk, it's a living, breathing shadow. While Froch has let Fury's name slip into the public eye before, the narrative now shifts to the cold, hard mechanics of a potential collision. Goff maps out the high-stakes negotiations of an exhibition, where Fury's demand for the right price meets Froch's
having a go at the Furies, probably over his time on his channel, maybe, I'm guessing, and John didn't like that and wants to have a fight with him, something like that.
It was something like that. I don't think he was still necessarily turning down a fight.
What I do know is that John Fury and Carl Froch on the cobbles will be fun. I think they're
calculated, ice-cold willingness to fight for a higher cause. It is a chess match of egos and agendas, a clash of personalities where every word is a strategic strike in a long-running rivalry. Then, the veteran eye of Duke McKenzie dissects the raw, flickering frames of Froch's new training footage, revealing a man who explodes with a terrifying, bone-crushing power. But even in this high-intensity story, the human element bleeds through as Mackenzie notes the moments where the engine stutters and stamina dips. Froch emerges
because he called me a fake and a fraud, fake hard man. I will show him how much of a fake hard man I am. He's the one that's shying away from
as a predator of unpredictable bursts, a fighter capable of total dominance until the oxygen runs thin and the vulnerabilities of the ring begin to surface. This is the rhythm of the fight game, a delicate balance of elite-level preparation and the silent, creeping reality of physical limits. Every punch thrown in the gym is a chapter in a story of readiness, where strengths and flaws collide to define the legend. The cinematic lens flares as Adam Smith peels back the digital curtain, revealing a high-stakes psychological war where Carl Froch's verbal shrapnel has finally ignited the Fury camp. Smith notes that John Fury isn't just retreating, he's a wounded lion.
I think if John Fury stuck it on Carl Froch in his space, I think he would chin him immediately.
Really? Even live on Netflix?
Yes. Because these guys, they don't allow you...
Visibly agitated by the stinging precision of Froch's media strikes. It's a masterful narrative of provocation and showmanship, an entertaining dance of shadows where the verbal sparring is just as addictive as the promise of a physical collision. Every message sent is a calculated brick in a wall of hype, a tension-filled build-up to a confrontation that feels inevitable. But then, the screen darkens as Joe Egan steps into the light, cold-blooded and ready to dismantle a reputation built on loud threats. Egan mocks Fury as a hollow shell, a fake Hardman dodging the very fires he claims to represent. With a predatory confidence,
I'd like to say yes. If it is going to happen, I'd like to be the one to make it happen. But we'll see.
What would you say is more realistic? Carl Froch versus John Fury or Carl Froch versus Darren Till?
John Fury versus...
He vows to break Fury in a barn or a ring, exposing a streak of cowardice hidden behind a wall of noise. This is the raw, unscripted reality of the boxing world, a brutal clash of authenticity where the mask of the bully is ripped away by a man willing to hold him accountable. The story shifts into a terrifying countdown, framing the conflict as a final test of courage against the loud, empty echoes of a reputation in freefall. The cinematic spotlight narrows as Eddie Hearn steps into the frame, his voice a cold blade cutting through the noise to deliver a brutal reality check. He declares that if John Fury ever dared to step into the pocket, the lights would go out instantly, a clinical knockout delivered with the precision.
He was doing that and goading Carl Froch. And I know John Fury doesn't like Carl Froch. Carl Froch mentions him, although I haven't really watched much of Carl Froch's videos lately. But Carl Froch, I know, has mentioned John Fury in the past. He's had a go with John Fury. They actually talked about having an actual, was it an exhibition or a boxing type match? And John Fury, any man, any time, was saying words to the effect of, "Oh, I'll fight you, Carl Froch, but the money has to be right." And Carl Froch basically said, "All right, well, if we arrange payment, it can go to charity."
Precision of a master. In the raw, unscripted chaos of live combat, Hearn mocks Fury's reckless overconfidence, framing him as a man swinging at ghosts while Carl Froch remains an untouchable architect of defense. This is a story of discipline versus delusion, where Froch's high-level ring intelligence creates a fortress that no careless advance can breach. The narrative paints a terrifying gap in skill, a seasoned predator waiting in the shadows to counter any threat with lethal experience. But then, the pulse of the industry quickens as Mams Taylor emerges, fueled by the scent of a high-stakes collision that the world is dying to witness. He doesn't just dream. He builds the stage.
I mean, John Fury looked like he was trying to fight Carl Froch. Obviously, Carl has said a few things about John Fury over the last few months, and John Fury, being John Fury, went straight for him. I'm not quite sure what he was going to do if he got to him, but I guess that was the entertainment.
Asserting that a war between Fury and Froch is the most realistic blockbuster on the horizon. Taylor leans into the tension, highlighting a willing combatant in Fury and a boxing world holding its collective breath for the papers to be signed. It is a calculated gamble of promotion and pride, a professional pursuit of a clash where the hype is real and the stakes are written in the blood of two icons on a collision course. The cinematic tension tightens as Liam Goff pulls back the curtain on a grudge fueled by pure, unadulterated friction, where John Fury's dislike for Carl Froch isn't just talk, it's a living, breathing shadow. While Froch has let Fury's name slip into the public eye before, the narrative now shifts to the cold, hard mechanics of a potential collision. Goff maps out the high-stakes negotiations of an exhibition, where Fury's demand for the right price meets Froch's calculated, ice-cold willingness to fight for a higher cause. It is a chess match of egos and agendas, a clash of personalities where every word is a strategic strike in a long-running rivalry. The spotlight then swings to Ade Oladipo, who captures the electric moment Fury charged across the press conference stage like a storm breaking. He reveals a man pushed to the brink by months of Froch's calculated barbs, his impulsive spirit exploding into a confrontation that left the world breathless. This is a story of raw, unpredictable chaos, where the refined strategies of the ring collide with a personality that refuses to be tamed. Oladipo frames the scene as a captivating spectacle of high-stakes drama, where the outcome is a blurred line between professional combat and a personal reckoning. In this arena, every movement is a gamble, and the unpredictability of a veteran's rage creates a narrative where the only certainty is that the fans will be watching with their hearts in their throats. The cinematic atmosphere hangs heavy as John Fury remains relentless, unleashing a torrent of accusations and dark threats that echo through the boxing world. Across the divide, Carl Froch stands like a pillar of ice, his composed exterior masking sharp, verbal strikes that dissect Fury's aging frame and fading stamina. Fury has woven a desperate narrative of cheating and shadows, a man clearly pushed to the edge and willing to burn his reputation to the ground just to defend it. Yet, Froch simply brushes the noise away, pointing to a Hall of Fame legacy and a career forged in the fires of high-pressure wars, showing the world a face that knows no fear. Voices like Eddie Hearn and Duke McKenzie add a layer of cold reality, whispering of a terrifying gap in skill that raw aggression simply cannot bridge. With every public challenge and every high-stakes negotiation over cash and pride, the tension has reached a jagged boiling point, leaving fans breathless as the world watches for the final spark. Mentally, it is a battle of the architect versus the storm. Froch remains the controlled, lethal master, while Fury bets everything on his notoriety and bravado. This is the ultimate gamble for legacy and blood-stained pride. Who will hold their nerve when the lights get too bright, and who will finally crack under the crushing weight of the moment. The stage is set, the world is watching, and the choice is yours. Join the debate and let us know whose side you are on, because this is one showdown that will define an era.